A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Ritvika Gupta. All through this month, we are taking a closer look at India's education sector and having in-depth conversations with leading players in the field to learn more about it. Tonight, in the first segment, we'll be speaking to India's youngest edtech unicorn, Physicswallah. Prateek Maheshwari, co-founder Physicswallah, will be on the hot seat. And in the second segment, we are chatting with Dr. Arvind Chaturvedi, Director School of Management, IILM University. I'm now joined live by Prateek Maheshwari, co-founder Physicswallah. Thank you, Prateek, for joining us today on Leaders of Tomorrow.
Thank you, Ritvika. Thank you.
So, Prateek, the theme for our show this season is Ideas for New India. Tell us, what do you think are the biggest ideas or trends that are shaping the education sector in India?
The big ideas, and the big trends which I see currently in the education sectors are students are preferring more and more online, and the entire student world has become hybrid in nature. Businesses sees the world as an online and offline world, but the students are using best of both the worlds. So this is one of the big trends from the student side, and from a business side, adoption of AI is something happening at a very fast pace. So this is from the business side, a trend is going quite popular nowadays.
Prateek, tell me, what was the original vision or foundation on which Physicswallah was built, and how has been the journey so far since 2016?
So originally we started with the vision of providing highest quality education to the masses, So we wanted to solve the problem of the affordability. So that's how me and Alag started in 2020. And currently we are teaching 24 million kids, and out of those 24 million kids we have 2.5 million paid users. So that's how the original idea shaped up. Earlier we were started with the JEE NEET exam categories, and in past 1 year we have launched 12 more exam categories: GATE, UPSC, SSC, banking, railways, teacher entrance test, so many exam categories, commerce, MBA, NEET PG we have ventured. So test prep, we are now present in almost all exam categories, and we are continuing to solve the affordability and the quality problem in the education.
Prateek, I recently read that you invested 120 crore rupees in a tech skilling platform. Tell us more about it, and how do you think this will help to bridge the gap between the demand and supply of professionals to really equip them with new age relevant tech skills?
So fundamentally, we have fairly solved the problem of the test prep in India, but one very big problem and a very big opportunity PW sees in the skilling market. The current skilling market is what college is providing, those skills are not very relevant to the industries. So what we are doing is we are trying to bridge that gap, and we will provide the new cutting edge skills to the masses and make them more industry ready. So that's why we partnered with Inureon, and the future plan is we have roadmaps to invest $15 million in this space. Currently we are tutoring 1.5 lakh kids. Mostly these kids are first, second, third, fourth year of their colleges, and that makes us the biggest skilling platform in India. And the future is to go hybrid, future is to go offline in the skilling space. So, and continue to make more impact in this sector.
You also have an ongoing partnership with National Skill Development Corporation. Prateek, tell us more about that, and what's the idea behind this association and the long-term vision?
NSDC provides us access to tier 3, 4 towns of country, as well as they have a huge networks of skilling centers. So along with them we have thought of skilling 25,000 learners in upcoming 3 years. So we have recently partnered with them and continue to use their distribution channels to reach out to the masses. The price point of PW is very much aligned with the vision of NSDC. So our full stack development course, the front end development course are $50 price point, and we will be providing the NSDC certificate to our learners, and it will help us reaching to the tier 3, tier 4 towns of India. So the next 3-year plan is to teach 25,000 students via NSDC distribution, and slowly this partnership will unveil and we'll take it to the next level.
Prateek, Physicswallah is India's youngest edtech unicorn. What, according to you, are the key factors or strategies that have contributed to achieving this unicorn status, and how do you plan to continue your growth trajectory in the coming years?
Yeah, Ritvika. So to answer this, Physicswallah is the youngest unicorn and the only profitable unicorn out here in edtech space. So the Physicswallah is born out of a community, so community stays at the heart of PW's strategy. So that's the major contributor in the growth of Physicswallah. So how it happened is we Alak have made a great captive audience for JEE NEET students, and then we started building on top of it business. So fundamentally, the other edtech platforms suffer with the problem of student acquisitions, which we do not have in PW. So the strategy is to build very warm, engaging communities over YouTube, over social media, and those communities translates into the revenue further. So this is the core strategy. So when we started, it was one YouTube channel. Now we have 50 plus YouTube channels. When we had started, there were 3 lakh subscribers. Now we have close to 24 million subscribers. So the company is now 20x in past 2.5 years. So this is the core strategy, and this is the core differentiator of PW, which differentiates from the rest of the edtech. And this is the 3rd year of the consecutive profitability. Profitability is very close to our strategy. This gives us a comfort to expand further as well. So we will be continuing to grow our communities and keeping the profitability and the corporate governance in hand.
Considering the recent challenges faced by companies in India's edtech space, such as reports of layoffs, business closures, what strategies do you believe can contribute to the sector's recovery and long-term success?
A lot of companies have overhired, seeing the growth in the COVID. They didn't plan their future numbers, in an amicable manner. But in general, sector is very, very promising. Every year, new learners are joining the online world, and we have a huge white space headroom in this sector. The layoffs were partly because of the shift in the investment strategy by the investors as well. But we continue to remain profitable and growing at a very, very high rate. In general, it was partly because a lot of edtechs were relying on heavy burns on digital spends to acquire students, but we don't have those problems. But nowadays, there is a shift in the strategy by the other players also. A lot of players are now focusing on community building, making a lot of free content for the students to engage them. So so a lot of change from the startup side also I have been observing, but the sector is very, very promising.
Finally, before we let you go, one piece of advice for entrepreneurs looking to enter the edtech space, what can you tell us?
So, for the young budding entrepreneurs, I would like to say it's a very good space. We are still at the day zero in edtech. So there are multiple sectors which are very, very promising. College skilling is something very promising sector, and but in general, edtech, I give advice to build slow, build robust, go for real problems, and develop a first principle thinking where you try to where you try to engage your energy in the real problems. and generally the learning curve and the learning outcome cycle is big, so it's a slow space in general. So be patient and build robust.
Great chatting with you, Prateek. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Ritvika. Thank you.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. In conversation now with Dr. Arvind Chaturvedi, Director School of Management, IILM University. Thank you, Dr. Chaturvedi, for being with us today. So to begin with, India is all set to embark on the Education 4.0 revolution, which aims to encourage inclusivity, a student-centric model, and transforming teaching methods, moving from a traditional reliance on textbooks. Tell us, what is your perspective on this? Are we ready for this? And are these the big ideas that are going to shape India's education sector in years to come?
Okay, we are not only ready for it now, in fact we were ready for it 20 years back, and if you look at the past 20 years growth in education sector in India, India is now able to compete with any global standard of education, be it US, be it Europe or any other place. Only thing is, the growth has been little slower, but in last 5 years we are catching up and we are growing by leaps and bounds, both in terms of numbers as well as in quality. And we are ready to do away with the conventional teaching methods and teaching systems, and we are ready to adopt the latest technology which is possible in education sector.
IILM University has been credited with launching the first NEP 2020 compliant law school. What, according to you, are the benefits associated with this policy, and how has that transformed the face of Indian education system?
If we look at the NEP 2020, I think it has been one of the most revolutionary step in the direction of taking education to the top level. All the provisions which NEP has, if we honestly implement maybe in next 5 years or so all over India, I think India will catch up with the global standards, but even surpass certain standards. There are so many important features of the NEP 2020 which have totally revolutionized, especially if you look at, let's say, multiple entry, multiple exit. We have the language issue, we have the academic bank of credit. I mean, each and every aspect of NEP 2020. So we in the IILM University have started the adoption of NEP 2020 in the right earnest. For example, liberal education. We have started for our law school liberal education in the sense that we added many more contents. We have started giving option. One of the most important factor of NEP 2020 is giving the choice to the students. Student-centric education. And when we say student-centric education, it is the teacher who guides the students, and students has a choice. And this kind of choice we are giving for the first time. Law students can also take electives from outside law school. We have a school of design, we have a school of journalism, we have school of management, and therefore management courses are also being offered. And therefore, we are the first compliant of NEP 2020 as far as this area is concerned.
Dr. Chaturvedi, tell us, why do you think there is a relatively lower recognition of Indian higher education degrees internationally? What specific parameters or criteria are essential for achieving recognition abroad? And why do you think we are lagging behind?
As I said, The Indian system, education system has revolutionized itself in last 20 years, more so in the last 5 years. And what is lacking? If you look at the global standards of education and global ratings and rankings, Indian institutions, even the top Indian institutions, do not figure in the top 50 or top 25 or top 10. Why? There are two important things. One is the international faculty, and second is the international students. Now, it is very difficult for Indian institutions looking at the foreign exchange rate to employ the foreign qualified people, whether they are from Indian origin or not from Indian origin. So, we have very little international faculty in Indian institutions. Second thing, as far as the curriculum is concerned, naturally there is a relationship with technology. India has been now adopting technology as has been used in international universities. India is leader in IT sector. We all know it is prominent all over the world that IT professionals largely come from India. But even with this level, our technology in education sector has been lacking. And now in the last 5 years, we have progressed. Slowly, we are meeting the international standards. Certainly, many universities which have attracted international students from developing countries or underdeveloped countries, very soon, maybe next 5 years, will also start getting students from the developed countries. Number one. Number two, India's education policy has been little liberal in the last few years, and now we are also opened our door for the international universities. Top international universities will come to India in next 5 years, or if not 5 years, maybe 5 to 10 years. And naturally, with this, the international students will also arrive, international faculty will also come. So therefore, internationalization of Indian education is not very far. Maybe 5 to 10 years, we will reach those levels where we can count ourselves along with the globally top international universities. Now, most of the European and American universities have international accreditation. International accreditation costs money. And therefore, many of the Indian institutions which are, let's say, promoter driven or family driven, they also want to save on the expenses, and therefore they have not gone into international accreditation.
So, our show is about entrepreneurship, and you have been associated with a number of prestigious institutions imparting knowledge to many B schools. What advice would you then give to management students who are interested in pursuing entrepreneurship as a career path?
For a long time, entrepreneurship was not looked at as an option for the Indian graduates and postgraduates. This was because India has traditionally been suffering from this problem of unemployment. And not only the unemployment because of lack of education, but even the educated unemployed were very large in numbers in India. But as I said, Government of India, with the change of the government maybe 10 years ago, they have started promoting entrepreneurship in a big way. It's not that it was not done earlier, but now the speed has been increased. And therefore, we have many universities, many institutions offering skill development programs. They are training people. Vocational education is being given higher budget, and higher efforts are made in this direction. So large number of people are now thinking of becoming the employment provider rather than employment seeker. And therefore, the entrepreneurship as an education system is increasing in India over a period of time. And again, if 100 people pass out from a university, maybe about 20 to 25 think of providing employment to others and therefore turning entrepreneurs. And this is very important. The size is not that important. Maybe they're starting with micro and mini small enterprise, but doesn't matter. As long as our students graduate and they go for independent enterprise, I'm sure the unemployment problem will also disappear in time to come.
What are your insights on the impact of technology when it comes to education? The government has proposed to set up 3 artificial intelligence centers of excellence, to allow students to leverage advanced technologies, and with the rise of AI tools like ChatGPT, can technology really replace the traditional way of teaching and learning?
In most of the advanced education institutions where technology has been adopted, the textbooks in the physical form have disappeared from the classroom. I knew many of the institutions. I've been in this sector for more than 40 years. I've seen traditionally the emphasis used to be on number of copies in the library, number of volumes, and number of books in the library. No more. In fact, the databases and the e-books. So now the prominent institutions which have adopted technology, they are providing to their students e-books. And there are many different educational modifications in the teaching and learning system which have done away with the conventional teaching methods. So textbooks have almost disappeared, and maybe the textbook publication is still on. I mean, the number of volumes being published are more, but not in the physical form, but in the e-form.
So India's education sector is expected to be a $225 billion opportunity by 2025. Tell us finally, as part of your closing remarks, what are the significant opportunities and challenges do you see in this space?
I think the most important revolution is the NEP 2020, which is as an education system. But what I said is adoption of technology. Leaps and bounds, the adoption of technology is increasing in India, and it is not only the metropolitan cities, but even the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. I've been traveling to the various educational institutions for different regulatory work, and I have been observing over a period of time the fast pace at which this technology adoption is going on, even in tier 3 cities. And therefore, $225 billion, I think it will even surplus in next 5 years, and India will become one of the major education provider in the world. Globally, maybe if not number one, India will certainly be counted as the first 5 in the next 5 years, speaking in terms of volume and in terms of, and if you look at the number of institutions that we have, number of institutions, of course, in terms of skill development or disciplines or domains, it has been the product mix which is being offered is changing over a period of time. And once upon a time, we had only engineering colleges and we had no medical colleges. Now the medical colleges are also increasing, management education is also increasing, law, liberal arts. I mean, in all dimensions, Indian education sector is growing, and I will not be surprised if this $225 billion estimates that you have, India will surpass even that, and it will not be surprising.
Thank you for joining us. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
With that, it's a wrap on this episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. I'm Ritvika Gupta signing off. Good night.